traffic update.
Wash your hands, don't touch your face, wipe things down, clean up your space. When you cough and sneeze, do responsibly. If you feel you're getting ill, isolate at home and chill. No, you're not alone. Please pick up your phone and call 206-477-3977. King County 206-477-3977. Public Health 206-477-3977. King County 206-477-3977. Public Health Community Radio Station will provide you with more information. Say Rainier Avenue Radio. Your community radio station will provide you with more information. Rainier Avenue Radio.
Hey y'all, how you doing? This is that guy Curtis from R&R Live Jam Sessions. I want y'all to tap in with me every Wednesday at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time right here on Rainier Avenue Radio.org. R&R Live Jam Sessions, baby. Holla.
Dealing with COVID-19 is uncharted territory, and everyone has different challenges. People may feel anxious, down, or overwhelmed. For some, these feelings can lead to changes in sleep patterns, an increased use of alcohol or drugs, or withdrawing from the people around them. If you know someone who's having a hard time coping, you can help by reaching out to talk and listen. To learn more about how you can help someone in need, call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-TALK. Brought to you by the state of Washington.
Would you like to see when your favorite Rainier Avenue Radio show comes on? Check out our show schedule, updated weekly at rainieravenue.world.
Hello there, world. Bettina, Carey here, and I'm here on Rainier Avenue Radio, and this is all about shattering the revenue glass ceiling with an S, that is, because, well, glass ceilings are meant to be shattered, not merely broken, as I like to say. And I've been looking for ways to shatter glass ceilings, and every once in a while I come into information that is actually going to stop or block someone from achieving success. And recently I became aware of the Washington CARES Act, the long-term care tax that's going to be following, and it's going to affect everyone in Washington state that's a worker. And with me here today is going to be Wilma Fountroy and Sondra Earley, and they have all that you need to know about this. In fact, we may now have to have them come back on another show. There's so much to know about what's coming up for everyone. So let me tell you a little bit about Wilma first. Wilma Fountroy is a highly accomplished global business manager, educator, consultant, and coach. She has extensive experience and expertise in organizational development, guiding entrepreneurs to fulfilling their business ideas and dreams. A licensed professional with a focus on consumer education and awareness, she leads individuals, groups, and businesses to health, life, and retirement insurance solutions. And Sondra Earley is a healthcare and insurance professional, aka peace of mind manager. With over 20 years of experience in healthcare, personal and commercial lines of insurance, she works tirelessly for all of her customers. Sondra uses all of her talents and skills in a holistic framework that always puts the customer first. And also, you can basically count on her to give customer service every single day. Thank you and welcome both Wilma and Sondra. It's so great to have you here.
It's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much.
Bettina, it's my pleasure.
We did it. I love it. You are members of the We Empower You community, and I am so excited to be able to offer this opportunity to some of our members to come on and share a little bit more about what they have in the way of opportunities and information. And so, Wilma, let's start with you. We're going to be talking today about this Washington state legislation that impacts pretty much everyone working in Washington state. So give us a quick overview, and then we'll turn it over to Sondra.
All right, I'll be happy to. I would like to start this discussion with an example of why it is so important to all of us, irrespective of our age, and as we age, particularly, it is more important. And let's consider this. As many of you have watched your parents and grandparents age, have you ever stopped to wonder, well, what's going to happen to me when I get older and I am in need of assistance? Am I in need of caregiving? Who is going to provide that to me? And that's where Washington State comes in. Washington State has taken action to make certain that our Washington residents get the type of care they want through funding that they have is going to start January the 1st, 2022. So let me explain that a little bit more. Washington State in 2019 passed a law called the Washington Long-Term Care Act, and it now is known as the Washington CARES Act. But what that act does, it makes certain that W-2 workers are able to provide funds that they can later use for their daily activities and caregiving. The act started, as I said, in 2019, and W-2 workers will now begin to get charged. I hate to use the word charge, but will contribute to a fund called a tax and an insurance premium that is 0.58% on their income. In other words, it's 58 cents for every $100 that they will make, and they will contribute to that monthly. The employer will be collecting the tax. The administrators of the tax are the Washington State Administrative Services, Health and Social Services, and the Employment Security Office. On an average, an individual making $4,000 a year will pay $232 a year in taxes. And those that make higher than that, say $100,000 a year, will be contributing $580 a year to the fund. There are exempt workers you can get exemptions from this act. And Sondra, can you tell us a little about the exemptions?
Thank you, Wilma. Yes, I'd like to tell you about the exempted workers. So there are basically four types. One of them, self-employed workers. A second, federally exempt tribes. A third would be union employees and employers. And a fourth would be those individuals who qualify for exemptions. So those that qualify for exemptions basically are opting out. Self-employed individuals must elect coverage by January 1st, 2025, or within 3 years of becoming self-employed for the first time. The Act specifically allows individuals to opt out. I know that's a question on your mind. How do you opt out of this program? One, if you already have a long-term care plan that is equal to or greater than the state's policy. However, time is short on this aspect because the long-term care plan must be in effect by November 1st, 2021. For higher wage earners that are opting out, they purchase an individual policy and are challenged by the close time frame impact. So individuals can apply for exemption between October 1st and 2021 and December 31st, 2022. But let's be clear, the exemptions from the Washington CARES Act are for life. Once you're exempt, the exemptions are permanent. That means that if you are exempted, you will never have access to the Washington Care Fund, which provides a $36,500 benefit. Wilma?
Okay, before we go further into the benefits itself, let's think about how much long-term care is going to cost you. And recognize that most health insurance plans do not cover it. Medicare does not cover it. Families are being found to be less able to support long-term care insurance and long-term care funding, and there is a shortage between what one gets in retirement funding, particularly from Social Security and any other pensions one may have, and the cost of taking care of yourself and others when you get older. So this fund, the Washington Cares Act, provides a fund for you, and we've already gone through how is it going to be built up through taxation. But starting in 2025, you will begin to, those who are qualified and those who are in need will begin to get benefits from their contributions into the fund. The total amount of the lifetime benefits is $36,500, as Sondra has previously indicated. To qualify to pay for long-term care services and support, these funds are going to be available to you whenever you need it. To receive the benefit, you must have at least 10 years without a break of service. Or if you need it before this, you must have 3 of the last 6 years to qualify for the benefit. Again, the lifetime benefit is $36,500. Sondra, what are the takeaways? Or shall I say, let me go into what are some of the takeaways and challenges from this act. It sounds like you're going to be taxed. You are going to be taxed. It also sounds like you're going to have a fund that you can use when you need it. It's a given fact that as we age, our activities for daily living may need some type of support. So what are the takeaways and what are some of the challenges?
Before we jump into the takeaways, I would like to kind of go back to what you said about the self-employed. A lot of folks that watch this are self-employed, and you said that there's the exemption that goes on for life. Why would someone who's self-employed be interested in going ahead and participating in this program?
Sondra, would you like to respond to that?
Well, one of the things we could think about in that regard is that if they have a long time to retire, so they may be able to get in on the state's fund and have at least $36,000. Thinking long term, so you know how I like to talk about now, later, and later. They may also wish to have be enrolled in a private or an individual long-term care policy. So just because there's this Washington fund going on doesn't mean that you can't enroll in an individually long-term care plan. So it might be just timing and thinking about when you would retire.
So there's some considerations, and I really want to point out that we're not going to be able to cover all of what this legislation is all about, but
exactly.
It's something that literally everyone, whether you're working on a W-2 or you're self-employed, and later perhaps even folks who are running LLCs might be impacted by this new legislation, right? So this is something to listen up to, and these ladies have the background and the experience with this new legislation, and we're already behind the 8 ball, it sounds like, because if you're going to take action, you need to be talking right now to somebody. And how can folks get a hold of the two of you?
So I'm Sondra, and you could call me at 425-681-3253. And Wilma?
I am at 425-440-1931.
I love it that you're giving out those numbers, because you might have to repeat them again at the end. But folks really need to talk to someone who knows this legislation inside and out. And it sounds like you do. So let's go ahead and hit some of the benefits, and then we'll move on to some of the not so great benefits, or not benefits, the challenges. the challenges. Let's just say
that's true. We are categorizing this as the takeaways and challenges. There are some down points to the legislation now, but I think we need to keep in mind that as it progresses and as we get closer to 2024, that the state will have to make some adjustments, and we will have to make some adjustment as well. But the time to be aware of it and be on radar with it is now, and to keep up with it as we go along in terms of changes and updates that are being made. Now let's look at some of the takeaway and challenges. From a practical standpoint, employees who plan to retire in the next 10 years will be required to pay premiums, but may never qualify for it, because you have to have at least 10 years invested before you can qualify for the benefits. So if you're age 64 now, but you're a W-2 worker, you may very well have to contribute to the taxes, and before you retire, let's say by age 67, to receive full Social Security benefits, you may still not be vested in the plan, so that you cannot reap benefits from it. However, if you need them before your full year of investment, you do have that caveat that you can join within the three years prior to before the 6 years of your benefit. Okay, it also means, going further, it also means that retirees who move out of state will not qualify for the benefits, regardless of whether they have paid into it or not. If you're out of state at the time that you may need it, you cannot come back in state and expect to get it, or if you remain out of state, you don't. And this is important because as people retire, they may decide that they want to go to a cheaper state, or they may want to go to be a Arizona person and that type of thing, and be the warmer climates. And if that's the case, you're out of the state, and when benefits occur and are ready to be distributed in year 2025, you won't be able to do it because you're out of state. Individuals who do not plan on living in Washington after their retirement, which I just sort of touched upon, also will not be able to receive the benefits that they have put into it. In contrast to private long-term care insurance, you say, well, this $36,500 benefit is not that much for me, or it won't help me that much, but it will help you that much, because most persons outlive their retirement plans, or they don't have enough. There's a gap between when they need services, what that cost is going to be, and what their income is going to be. The state itself spends approximately 24% of their budget on assisting seniors and other persons who are in need of continuing care for ADL, activities of daily living. Okay, once you've met the 10-year vesting period, the benefit will be available when you need it, even if you're in the state. So that's a plus. Even if you are not retired, that's what I'm saying. When you are participating, you can benefit, you can add additional coverage for long-term care or for care services while you're also contributing to the fund. So that will help increase the amount of money you have available for care services when you need it.
Let me stop you for one quick second. So what if you're retired, but you're also still working?
And if you're a W-2 employee, you will be able to contribute to that fund. Now, if you're not, and you choose to, you become self-employed, you're retired, but you become self-employed. If you choose to, there may be an opportunity for you to what we call opt in and participate in terms of contributing to the fund.
So do you think there's going to be some self-employed folks and even some W-2 folks that don't have a clue what to do, what's the next steps?
Oh, absolutely. I think this act and the situations that we're in now, particularly when we have lived in a pandemic period and know what devastation that can be to us, now is the time to review your plans, review what you feel may be your needs, and do a what we call a retirement health care planning we can help with that. We can help you look at what you need, think you need, look at how soon you think you're going to need it, look how much money you have and you want to contribute, and what plans that you have, and enhance your readiness for your longevity.
Yes, and people like me, I'm in my 60s, are getting younger every day, right? We stay
Absolutely
longer and longer. And so whether that's on a W-2 or everyone's going to have to do something. They're either going to have to opt in or opt out, self-employed or otherwise. And I think this has been a really great reminder because, shattering the revenue glass ceiling or the earnings glass ceiling has to do with not only making money, but keeping money and then investing money. And if this isn't a true investment as a worker, then you get the benefit of it down the line. But if it turns out that you end up losing it because here you are paying into it 8 or 9 years, and then you decide you want to go live in Arizona, well, guess what? You can't participate in it.
That's right, exactly.
Money into it. So you really need to figure out what are you going to be doing in the next 10 years. And so I think this has been a really great conversation with you ladies. What are some other takeaways and challenges?
Okay, Sondra, would you like to touch upon some other challenges?
Some of the other challenges were, and this may be thought of as a benefit. Let's say that your employer already offers private long-term care insurance to their employees. Well, you can continue to do so. So sometimes we get caught up in the thoughts that, one opportunity is all we have, but we have many opportunities. That's why Wilma and I are here in our mission. And what we really love to do is to help people figure out what opportunities are out there, because you can't get it all from the newscasts all the time. So the mandatory tax rate will have to be adjusted. In the legislative document, it says that they're going to look at it in 2024, but that's when they can first adjust it. So the adjustments will come. And again, it's like, maybe you don't have that latte today. Maybe you decide to not take a latte break on Thursday, but you can have them the rest of the 6 days. So you're saving for your future and making sure that you have a plan. So the other benefit is, let's look at it this way. For the Washington State employees, this fund is taking effect January 1st, 2022. Time is short. If you want to have that conversation with us, dial us up as soon as possible, and we can take you by appointment and explain to you the project. For those that are global or in the other parts of the United States, Washington is the leader at this point. There will be changes, and other states will try it, maybe better, maybe worse, but at least you know that the states are planning on increasing the opportunities and reducing their budgets. We have your back, and we'd love to help you enhance your understanding of long-term care and other care plans that may be available that are malleable to the situation. Maybe if you have a spouse or a loved one, that's living with you, some of these plans are transferable. If you don't use it, it's not that you have to use it. The long-term care plans of today are not like they were 20 years ago. There have been technology changes. So let me encourage you to stay aware. When you hear the term long-term care, kind of perk up, and don't forget to call Wilma or Sondra.
And let me add, if I may add to that before we go on, one of the advantages that we didn't touch upon is if you are employed, and say you're a high earner in an organization, the employer may be offering long-term care services right now to its employees. But if they aren't, you may be able to encourage your employer to get a group plan together that will also protect you in the long run in terms of the needed services and the funding for that. So that's another aspect that employers are going to be looking at. And also, I think the employees with their voice can help the employer think about, oh, well, let's develop a group plan. That's not going to eradicate the tax on the W-2 workers, but it can be another source of funding for you that you can use in the future in addition to that. So there's a lot of good opportunities that have come from this. And again, as Sondra has said, and as Bettina has said, we encourage you to keep in touch. The state is going to do some outreach starting October the 1st. That's around the corner. That means more communications, but you must be very cognizant of the fact that this is going to be an ongoing update and ongoing changes kind of thing. The mandatory taxation will remain the same, but we can influence and we can learn more about it. And please do keep our numbers and feel free to call anytime.
Thank you so much, both of you, for coming here today. It's been a wonderful conversation. And we don't have any announcements today for the upcoming shows, but of course, I'm the founder and CEO of We Empower You and the WeEmpowerYourLife.com website. Join us at one of our Wednesday meetings. Go to WeEmpowerYourLife.com and click on the calendar tab. Next up is God is Inspiration. Thank you, Wilma and Sondra, and those watching, listening, and sharing this interview live on Rainier Avenue Radio. See you next week.
Thank you, Bettina.
Thank you so much.